We're seeing this sell-off really in the past 45 minutes take a bigger leg lower. A lot of angst in this market. Of course, this comes as France this morning enters a lockdown. Monday, it will be Germany. What's your initial thoughts on all of this?
Hey, good morning to you, Anne-Marie. I really don't think it's time to hit that panic button yet. I mean, as Chris pointed out, it is true that we're going back into lockdowns, but this is a different type of lockdowns. The economic activity is still working. Clearly, we went 2 steps forward in the third quarter. We're going 1 step backward. But the way we're looking at it is we have hit a setback, but this is not going to stop the economic recovery ahead. We're closer to the end of these uncertainties, of the cause of these uncertainties, than we are to the beginning. So we're closer to the results of the U.S. election, whether they're contested or not. Those elections will have results. We are also closer to not only a vaccine, whenever that comes, but also there are more therapies to deal with COVID. We know better how to deal with it. So yes, we have hit a setback, but if you ride this one out, I think you're getting ready to a macroeconomic pickup in the next few months.
Fabiana, it's interesting you say that we've learned a lot. I'm struggling to see exactly how much we've learned, given the fact that countries are going back into lockdown sooner than what the scientists were expecting. We're not even in November, December yet. We're not even in the winter months, technically. And already we see record cases around the continent. For you, do you think this then is the lowest point we're going to see, or is there going to be more to the downside in the markets?
But that's exactly what we've learned. We learned to deal with this very quickly. If you remember what happened in March, April, a lot of the governments weren't really sure what they had to do. They actually took steps very slowly, and we're still paying the consequences of that. I'm not saying that it's going to be rosy in the next couple of months. We know that we're going to have some pretty hard conditions, but we also know that economies are not going to completely lock down. And also we know that we're getting closer to a resolution. We have more therapies, a couple of them, including the one that actually cured President Trump, are in stage of approval. Some of them have already been approved. And we're also closer to a vaccine. So we're going to go through some tough times, that is for sure. But if you're looking at this as a long-term investor, I think you know that eventually we're going to come out of this in the next, by the end of the year, beginning of next year.
Right, if you're long-term, but if you're short-term, and if you're just waking up this morning, we have to take a look at what's going on in the markets. A serious acceleration to the downside. And just moments ago, S&P 500 futures extending beyond 2% lower, catching up to where the NASDAQ is, down nearly 2 5/10%. And you're seeing as well the bleeding coming through in the Euro Stoxx 50 and the DAX futures. Yesterday, that little bit of reprieve at the close, clearly not doing enough. The markets are spooked a bit. Fabiana, you make a point. Maybe this is just in the short term. I want to ask you then, are you a buyer on this dip?
It's funny. Manus yesterday on the program said, now everyone is going to come on the program and tell me I have to buy on the dip. It's all about a matter of your investment horizon. If you're short term, clearly we're not going to have any good news for the next few weeks until we know actually what is going to happen with the U.S. election results. They might actually not come early next week as we would be usually used to. So until we get some good news, this market is going to stay choppy, it's going to stay very volatile, and you should expect some tough numbers coming out. But the first good news could be actually coming out of U.S. elections if we get some clarity, if we get a sweep, no matter what direction that is. And the next good news could come on therapies for COVID, and could also come on the results of these lockdowns that probably will be able to stem the outbreak from where it is now.